guys, Shopify here. So these are 4 Godot tips you probably didn't know. First of which is configuration warnings. So configuration warnings are those yellow icons you would see on a node sometimes that say it's requiring something, such as on a collision shape, for example, saying it needs to have a shape, stuff like that. So first, the way we're gonna do that is need to create a script on your object. Then we need to make it a tool script. Then let's export the variable we need. So export for, let's call it required node. Set it to be a node. Next we need to set the item. So you say set, put a v here, and then the required item equals v. Now we need to override a function called get configuration warning. So here we need to check what we need to change, and then we could return the error. So the way we do that is if required item equals null, you want to say return, you have to return an array, and we could tell it what we want. So we could say something like needs a node. You could actually add stuff here like more specifics, like any node for example. Then say return nothing. So if there's no errors here, you don't have to do this, just return a blank. Up here now, whenever we set this, we need to update it. So we have to call update configuration warnings. So let's reload the scene. There you go. You have this error, needs a node, and any node would work. So that. And when we do this now, we could assign a node. So we have this node here, assign it, that warning goes away. So that's configuration warnings. It's good for like working in teams or whenever you create a plugin. Pretty neat. So next thing. Okay, so the next thing is property list. Think of a scenario where you have a node that has variables that you might not need and you just don't want them to be in the property. You could use the property list to hide them or to show them. It depends on what you want. So first to do that, you need to make it a tool again, the script that you're gonna use. Then you need to make a function, a boolean, for example, that we're gonna use as enable in the options. So export var, use require name. It's gonna be a boolean. Let's set it to false by default. Then we need to use that set again. B, then require name equals b. Now we need to say var name. Let's use underscore because the node has a name function, name variable, and we set it to be nothing. Now we need to override the property list function. So get property list that returns an array of dictionaries. We could check if require name. So let's say var item. It's gonna be a dictionary. So here we need to specify a few stuff. First we need an item name. So name, and that's the name of the actual variable, and that would be the underscore name. Then we need a type, which is a type of string. That's really all you need, but you also have usage to default. Then you have hint, a property hint, no hint right now. And last is hint string, the node's new name. Then we need to return that. So return in an array or return nothing. Up here we need to notify property list change. We could do one thing as well. So let's come here and print. So ready, save. Now let's save. Let's reload the scene. Right, so now if we press require name, this should pop up this name variable. There you go. Now we could type Shopify, for example. Now if we run the scene, it should print out Shopify. So this is a way to show and hide properties. You can experiment with the hints right here, property hint. For example, we could make this a directory. You know, it's still a text, but technically it's a directory as well. So you could open it up and search for stuff. Or you could make it multi-line, for example. Multi-line text. Now reload scene again. Now it's a multi-line text. Could play around with those different ones and see what it is. Okay, next step is add sibling function. So normally you would create a you'd have a pack scene. So let's create a pack scene. The export or call it brother, and then let's do it in the ready function. You would say var b equals brother dot instantiate. Then you'd say get parent dot add child b. Normally you do this here, but instead of doing all this, you could just say add sibling and then b. Keep in mind this won't work in this scenario, just an example, because you can't just do this unready on the child node because the main node isn't ready yet. So instead, we're gonna create a add brother function here. Throw these guys in here on the main node now. Say func ready. Just say node dot add brother. Alright, we can run that now. Hit remote. There you go. Brother's been added. In most cases, you'd use this for like adding a bullet to the scene when the games while you're playing a game. You know. Alright. Next, we have node metadata. So on every node, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll notice there's an add metadata button here. You could create any like extra data you want here. Let's say, I don't know, is monster. Let that be a boolean, just to keep it simple. Now we have this here. Could always turn it on and off. And at runtime now, we could actually use functions such as set meta is monster. There you have it there already. I could set that to be true. And we have get meta monster again. And we also have remove meta. So in general, you could, these are all on per instance. Metadata is per instance, so it's useful if you want to set a lot of stuff outside of your script that would change on runtime. You could always change them with a set meta here. Or whenever you call this function, if there's one that you make that doesn't exist, it will create it. So for example, let's say set meta say is car, or let's say monster name gargoyle. Then we could print that. Get rid of these. Go to print get meta monster name. Keep in mind these are all runtime, so this would go back to false whenever you end, and this will be removed whenever the game's not running, unless you save it somewhere somehow. So let's run the scene. Now you could see print out gargoyle down here. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.